Hello. My name is Vicky. I'm the creator over here at Golden Goodies. And today we are going to be making cold processed soap with one of my throwback favorite scents from Bath and Body Works from back in the day when I used to shop there. It's called Boardwalk Taffy, and it's like this sweet candy smelling scent, kind of like a mix of pink sugar, cotton candy, and a little bit of fruit, but it smells really good. So today I'm going to be making that soap, and we're starting off with the imbeds. I had this really cute gummy bear mold, so I wanted to use that and put imbeds on top of the soap. I decided on pink, orange, and blue is what it started out, but you'll find out later that it does not stay blue. So I'm using a clear melt and pour soap, and I'm just adding my micas to the soap, and then you're going to see me mix it up and add it to the mold. So I got this new electric whisk, and I was so excited about it because it takes some of the hard work out of mixing these micas in the soap or whatever I'm making. So I have this now. It goes up to 3 settings, so it goes pretty fast. So you see I'm mixing up the melt and pour soap here, but what I am realizing is that I should not have turned on the electric part of the mixer. I should just still hand mix it with the whisk, because all of those bubbles are no bueno for my soap mode. And as you can see here, the blue is not as frothy as the first 2 colors because I decided, okay, maybe you shouldn't turn the mixer on. So you're going to see me pour the blue first, and it has a little bit of bubbles, but not too much to where it kind of messed it up. So it still looks good. And then you use your alcohol spray to knock the bubbles off the top, so it's really no problem. With the second one, the orange was really frothy, so as you can see, I have a bunch of bubbles on top to where the mold is not getting all the way full, so I have to spray a little bit, then pour some more of the soap, spray a little bit, and try to get the bubbles off the top, which is what I'm doing here. You see, once you spray the alcohol, the bubbles start to dissipate a little bit. And I over poured the soap, so I'm trying to get the bubbles off and knock off that extra soap. And for the last batch, which was the pink, I just decided to completely start over because it was just way too many bubbles and I didn't want to deal with that. So I melted some more soap, added the pink again. Then I proceeded to lightly whisk the soap. It looks like I'm going really fast because I have it fast forwarded, but I did lightly whisk it. And then I decided to spray the alcohol spray on top while it was still in the measuring cup. And look at that pour. It's much nicer. You don't have all those bubbles on top. I can completely fill the mold and then still go back, spray a little alcohol spray, and they came out good. I'm just wiping off the excess so the colors don't blend. Get those bubbles off. And that's pretty much it. Now the gummy bear imbeds are done. We're going to let these sit for about an hour and they'll be ready to go after that. Now it is time to get started on the cold processed soap. I already have my shea butter and my mango butter measured out. Right now you see me adding the palm oil to the scale, measuring that out. More palm oil. Now I'm resetting the scale so I can add the coconut oil. All right, now all the coconut oil is added and I'm adding in my mango butter, then my shea butter. Okay, once we have all the butters measured out, it is time to measure the lye and get our lye water ready. So first I'm going to pour my distilled water into this container, get that measured. I like to try to have it pretty precise. Now we're going to measure our sodium hydroxide. And again, at this point, and even before this point, you should be very careful. You should have your protective gear on, gloves, long sleeves, closed-toe shoes, long pants, goggles, just to protect yourself, because this sodium hydroxide is nothing to play with. You don't want to get it on your skin. So now you're going to see me add the sodium hydroxide to the distilled water. You never want to do it the other way. If you add the water to the sodium hydroxide, you will have a crazy chemical reaction that you don't want to see. So always add the lye to the water. So now I'm mixing, and it's getting really hot. You'll start to see the fumes start coming up into the camera lens. So I'm going to set that to the side, set it by the window so it can air out just a little bit. I only want my lye water mixture to cool down just a little bit because I am using the heat transfer method to melt my butters, which means I'm using the hot lye water to melt all of my butters instead of melting the butters beforehand. I like this way. I feel like it's a little bit easier. You use less containers and it's a little bit quicker. So I'm just mixing all of my butters around. I just continuously agitate the butters because I want it to melt faster. If you keep mixing it around, it eventually melts much quicker than just letting it sit. So now that that's done, I'm going to add my liquid oils, which is olive oil. I mainly have mostly butters in this formula. I have my shea butter, my palm oil, my coconut oil, and my mango oil. My mango butter plus olive oil. So now I'm using my stick blender to mix everything together. We want to get everything fully emulsified and mixed together. And then once I have a trace, then I'll start separating my colors. Here it looks like it got pretty thick. It's thick enough for me to start adding my colors in. I don't want it to get too thick because then we're going to have some issues pouring it into the mold, which I don't want to do that. This is the first time I'm using this particular scent to actually make cold processed soap, so I don't know how it reacts. With cold processed soap, it's kind of just luck of the draw, or if you check reviews like I try to most of the time, sometimes I forget, you'll know how the soap will behave with that fragrance oil. But yeah, it's kind of like trial and error. So let's see. We'll see what happens. Now I'm cleaning up my little mess. I transferred the soap into my smaller containers so I can add my micas. Usually before I add my micas, I add some titanium dioxide, which is what soapers use to make their soap white, because as you can see, it's naturally a yellowish color because of the butters, and the olive oil that I used was like a darker olive oil, it was virgin olive oil. So that also makes it a little bit darker. But today I did not use the titanium dioxide, so we're gonna see what happens. I added my pink, getting it all mixed up with my whisk here. Needed a little bit more because it wasn't as pink as I wanted it to be. And my idea with this was like my favorite Laffy Taffy flavors. So I love the blue raspberry Laffy Taffy. I love the strawberry Laffy Taffy. I'm not a fan of the orange, as you see me using orange here, but my mother loves the orange Laffy Taffy, so I added that in as well. So I'm just mixing my micas all up, and I'm using my whisk instead of my stick blender because I don't want it to get too thick. Like I said before, when you start using your stick blender or overusing it, the soap gets thicker and thicker as you go. And at this point, I have not added my fragrance yet, so again, I don't know how that's going to react, so I don't want to mix too much. Now I'm mixing my blue up. As you can see, that blue and that yellow color kind of made a green. So I'm adding some more blue to my mixture to hopefully get it more blue than it already is. And it worked. It definitely changed. So I'm mixing, getting all of that soap off the side of the container. Now it's time to add the fragrance oil. And again, this is Boardwalk Taffy. It is from the Wholesale Supplies Plus website. It's a Bath and Body Works dupe, and I love it. It smells delicious. Okay, so I am mixing in my fragrance in each color. Mixy. Okay. I want to make sure that's fully incorporated after I go in with my whisk. And I don't know if you noticed, but that orange just got really bright after adding that fragrance oil. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully that sticks. And mix in my pink. It looks like the pink got a little bit brighter too, which I like. Okay, now it's time to hit each individual color with the stick blender real quick because it is time to add these babies to the mold. So I wasn't exactly sure what type of design I wanted to do with this soap. So as you can see, I'm kind of just pouring the soap into the mold, one color into another color. After a while, I decided I was just going to do a hanger swirl because that's my favorite soap design. That's kind of like my go-to. But I recently moved and I could not find my hanger swirl tool, which was really upsetting. So I decided to just kind of stick my stick in the soap and just do a random swirl like that. I've never done that before, but I've seen people do it and it comes out decent. Not as good as the hanger swirl, but we'll see. So right now I am going to decorate this top. I'm just putting a few colored squiggle and drops on the top, and then I'm going to just swirl them around in a cute little design. The cold processed soap is officially sitting in the molds and setting up. And now it's time to unmold our cute little gummy bears. And they came out so cute. I love them. They look edible. Like, seriously, they look like candy. So I am just taking out the little access around the sides. They are so cute. And this isn't the last thing I'm going to do with these gummy bear molds. I actually have a couple of other products coming out that I am going to use these with using this same Boardwalk Taffy scent because as I said before, I absolutely love it. It smells so good. It's a nice sweet scent for the summer, but you know, you can wear it anytime. So I don't have any lines on my soap molds, and these are new soap molds at that. So I didn't know exactly where to place the bears. So I'm using my soap cutter to kind of just line it up to show me where the lines would hit. So when I cut my soap, I don't cut through my gummy bears. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I had a little technical difficulty with them. They were a little slippery because I had some soap on my hands, but I'm just adding each one in there, and then we'll come back for the soap cut. Okay, y'all, we are back a full 24 hours later unmolding this soap. And as you can see, that blue turned to green. Like, we saw it turn into green when I was mixing it into the soap. And yeah, it's full blown green. We don't see any blue in that. So, and as you can see, my top looks kind of crazy. All of the colors kind of like morphed into each other. I think the soap got pretty hot because the inside of the soap is looking way different than the top of the soap. So we'll see what this cut looks like. But that top of the soap, I'm not liking it, but let's see. Okay, lining up those strings just right so I don't cut the gummy bear's arm off. And boom. Okay, moment of truth. Okay. I am not mad at that. The top looks a bit gnarly, but I like the inside. That green is kind of cute, and there is a green Lappy Taffy, the green apple. And then it looks like we have a yellow, so our pink strawberry turned into banana. And we have a little bit of orange, but it's mostly looking like green apple and banana. And if you can see that little outline that I'm pointing to, that shows that the soap went through a gel process, which is when the soap gets really, really hot, and it usually makes the colors a lot more vivid. So that's what we're looking at, and that kind of explains why the top looks so gnarly, because that was still being exposed to air and the inside was not. But yeah, I like it. It's looking good. It's looking good. I don't know if I'm gonna sell these. Probably not. I'm gonna be making a Boardwalk Taffy body butter and a body oil. So I might just give a free soap away with the purchase of either of those products. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.